co-host again. So.
Okay. I will.
Okay. All right, so here we go. So welcome to the Trendsetter office. We're going to start today with a brand new yarn that's just come out. It's a yarn called Romanza Cotone. They did a yarn called Romanza last year. It was wool. They decided to do a cotton linen version. And what's most amazing about it, first of all, it's a very organic fiber content. The fibers are all mixed together, they're blended. As they're dyed, they take on different shading. And so this is one of the first pieces. It's part stockinette, part drop stitch, part garter. But what's great about it, look at all the colors that are in this pullover. And you'd think, okay, I have to buy 18 balls of yarn. That's one single colorway. And I'm going to show you the cardigan. And this is done in sections of rib and stockinette. And again, just all the color flow, all the detail, all the changes of things back to one colorway. So I'm going to take out from here, back to me, and we're going to see if we can do this. All right. And so you can see what it is that we're talking about. This is the yarn. So it's a gorgeous blend of cotton and linen. You can see the fibers wrapped around each other, but every ball looks a little bit different. So this is one colorway. Here's another colorway. So you've got touches of fuchsias and blacks and grays and creams. But this here is one single colorway. So when you get the box of yarn and you see 10 balls, the automatic response is, oh God, what is this? It's not going to work. They didn't send me matching yarn. But indeed, you have blue on the outside here. And as you start to dig into the center of another ball, there's the blue. So the colorations are glorious. The feel of the yarn, the detail. This is something that can be worn all year round. And it's going to be one of the hits that's going to continue for years to come. So we got the two new designs that you saw a few seconds ago. One of them is that pullover. It's wide, so it sits wide on the body. It's got a short sleeve. And then there's the classic cardigan. So welcome to one of the new yarns. And this is Romanza Cotone.
Barry, what's the fiber content?
The fiber content on that, the exact content, is 54 cotton, 23 linen, and 23 viscose. So it's a really nice blend, and you can see all the different fibers in the way that they've got a little bit of shine, a little bit of matte, and the linen just gives it some thickness. So you're getting texture, color, shine, and detail all within the one ball. All right, and we're going to continue on with some of our new sweaters. And this sweater is using two of the new yarns. So one of them is called Maldives. It is also linen and cotton and viscose. So three fibers that we've used quite a bit. This is part of the Trendsetter collection, and it's 2 row stripes of 2 different yarns. So it's Maldives and Heavenly. And we decided to put the wrong side as the right side. So it's reverse stockinette coming out. But on the inside, you can see that it really is just a simple matter of 2 row stripes. What we did here in order to get shaping, and I love shaping, I love things that move with you, is that there's darts in here. You can always tell that there's darts because it gives you a little ruffle. In the past, we've done it where we did A line with all the shaping on the side. And when you do the shaping on the side, it sits away from the body. When you do darts, which are in line with the bust, it creates a ruffle, and when you're wearing it, the jacket sits perfectly flush to the body. And that's what we wanted it to do. So I'm going to show you a couple of close-ups of swatches. I've been playing with color and having a really good time. I've shown this jacket a couple times now. And what everyone's asked is, okay, if I don't want to do the color you picked, what other colorways can I do? So this is the pink with the cranberry, and that's the wrong side. No one says you have to do the wrong side. If you're somebody who doesn't like pearl sides facing out, that's the 2-row stripes on the right side. Here's the rust. And again, the wrong side. So certain colorways show more diversity. If you do it and you pick colors that match better, then it's just more subtle. And here's 2 more. So we've got the rust and the brown, and this one I'm crazy for, so I'm probably going to knit this one next. This is the white, and the heavenly is in the earth shades. And that's the detail. The 2 yarns up close. So this is heavenly, and it is indeed heavenly. It is a cotton base. It's tubular. And what tubular means is that there's a cage. There's a cage inside here that wraps around, and they fill the yarn with cotton, and it's raw cotton. By using raw cotton, it expands the cage. So it's kind of like a hot dog construction. You have a casing and you have filling. And in order to give it extra detail, they use a little bit of viscose on the outside of it to give it a tiny slub. And when it's dyed, it's got short incremental color changes so that you're not going to get any real striping to it. You're just going to get consistent color changes. And this is Maldives. And so we've kept it consistent. So the construction is very similar. It is strands of linen. And within the strands of linen, there's a little cotton boucle. And the whole thing is wrapped with a viscose little pigtail. So you can see all these little pieces that are all over. It's a baby pigtail. So it's just a really super nice detail. And here's the 2 balls of yarn. And here's the swatch. So a super nice cardigan. And if cardigans are not your thing, then using Maldives all on its own, here's a pullover. And now you can really see the texture. So you can see the little baby pigtail that stands up. You can see how the linen is laying flat. And in this case, we also did the darts. The darts are right here. So this is also an A-line pullover. I'll switch cameras so you can see it. I'll hold it up for you. And that's the top. So it sits straight on the side. The darts are in place, and you get a little bit of a ruffle. And the base fiber is linen. It's wrapped with cotton and a little bit of viscose. So again, you have that little touch of texture. And it's worked in the 2 colors that Pantone has called the leading colors for the season. So charcoal gray and yellow, but there's many, many different colors. It just feels good on the body. Again, this is something that can be worn all year round. And if you're not a pullover person, but you're a cardigan person, then this can easily be split. It's just a V-neck. So you cut the number of stitches in half, work both fronts at the same time. And next up, one of your compatriots here is actually working on this. So Marianne's with us, and she just showed me a few minutes ago how she's already on her 2nd sleeve. She's holding it up for you. And what this is a blend of 2 different yarns. It's a yarn called Colorissimo. And I will do the different camera for you, but it is a wool yarn, and it's got about 40 different colors inside the yarn. and it's been blended with a metallic. And this is a yarn called Brillino. So it's a very fine metallic, but it's a multi-strand, and you're running one strand of each together. And in doing that, you get all the shades of colors with a little touch of metallic. And I shared a little secret on how I did this, and Marianne said it works perfectly for her. When you're plying yarns together, instead of running them, well, let me switch screens and this will help show you. So here's a close-up of the two yarns. So this is Colorissimo, lots and lots of different shades. Like I said, there's between 28 and 30 different shades. They take a wool, they spin it, they dye it, and they put multiple strands together so that colors create new colors. And here's a touch of the metallic. So you can see all the sparkle that's in there. When you work them, in order to get them to not pleat, where one goes to one side and one goes to the other, you take the metallic, you put it down, put it in a Ziploc bag, you take the tail and you push the tail through one end and up through the other. So that as you knit this, one wraps around the other and they twist. So you become your own yarn twister. And to show you what the end result is when you do that, this is the effect. So when you twist it, you don't get plating. You get two fibers, one twisted around the other, but the colorway that I'm showing you is one single colorway of Colorissimo. So every one of these shades is within the balls of yarn, from burgundies to teals to grays to roses to blacks. So this is just one of the fun multicolors. And I opted to put this with what we call pink blush. So this is the Colorissimo and Brillino cardigan.
That's really pretty, Barry. That colorway is gorgeous.
It is really, really super soft and very wearable. So it's been a nice piece. And we're going to continue on. So Lana Grossa has stepped up to the plate as far as hand dyes are concerned. And so with this one, this is a yarn called Echo Puno hand dye. Again, I'll switch cameras so you can see a better detail on it. The base of this is cotton. It's 100% cotton base, and woven through it or spun as it's twisted has a little bit of baby alpaca and merino. And then it's been hand dyed. So we do a whole range of solid colors. It's been extremely popular. People love it. A single ply of it's knit on a 5 or a 6 needle. And because we know people want to get things done, and it is super light, we doubled it here. So this is just a classic pullover. Sections of stockinette and reverse stockinette create the border, the neck, and the sleeve cuff. The rest of it is plain stockinette. So we've kept it simple. A couple people have said, I don't show my upper arms. Now I know this is going to be shocking to you, okay? Can anybody actually say that they don't want to show their upper arms? Well, they do. So Fontel has her arm up. So we hear it all the time. And what we do is just let us know. I can easily write a longer sleeve pattern for you. I've done it a few times. I've actually done it in a multiple of sizes. So if this is a design that you like, and you like the idea, but you don't want the short sleeve, let us know. And I'm happy to send it your way. And to show you what the yarn looks like, let's just always takes a minute to focus, but that's the effect of the yarn. So it is a cotton base. And within that, they've added a touch of alpaca and wool. And then they've taken the finished fiber and they dye it. And it is part of a hand-dyed collection. And the reason that this collection has been so exciting is that it is done in India. And it's done in a place where part of the profits go to help build the community and build the city and make it bigger and better. And we do believe in that. We think everyone needs to be bigger, better, and stronger. So part of what we buy, the profits from that go to the firm. And when you buy it, we help by making everyone stronger. So this is the Echo Puno hand die, and there's lots of other patterns and designs for it. This is just the one that we chose to show you for today. And while I've got the camera changed, also part of their hand dye collection. So this is their cool wool merino. It is kind of a DK merino. It's got a great dye to it. And every one of the colors are shaded and speckled. And then they've taken silk hair. So it's a blend of kid mohair and silk. And they dye those colors to match the speckles. And in this case, I've been teaching a lot of short rows. So I opted to do what I call a short row scarf. So you do a section of garter stitch, and then you get to a point where you change yarns and you're doing German short rows, creating the lace. It comes down and then you go reverse. And then by the magic of knitting, you hold on to your stitches, you pull your needle, and you're back to the end where you left your other yarn, and you pick up and go so that you don't have tons of tails. Now, much to my embarrassment, I'm going to admit that I loved this design. I've knit this many times, and people have asked me, okay, I'm not a short row person, what can you do? So I created another version, and I went in the warehouse, 10,000 square feet full of yarn, and I thought, okay, I'll just pull another color combination and we'll get it knit. So I sent it out to my knitter, and it came back. And I thought, oh good, we'll get to have a new colorway to show. Yeah, didn't happen. So much to my dismay, I have two pieces in similar colors. So much for having a warehouse. It's like going to your stash and picking the same thing over and over. So what I've done is I've brought some other colorways that I can show you. All of this is hand dye, and it is cool wool. So it's 100% merino. You get the dip dye section, and then you get the speckles. And within the speckle sections, the mohair is dyed to match all of the colored speckles. So you can keep it subtle, or you can do what I really wanted to do, which is the screamer. Way too much fun. So a black base and all these fun teals, turquoises, fuchsias, all ended up in the mohair. So it would be a really, really good contrast in either one of those pieces. And then one of the newer combinations, this is a rust base. So it goes from rust to a peach. And you've got all these electric speckles, and here's the mohair that matches it. So they're dyed to go together, but they're not 100% match. Again, the mohair matches the speckles. So we keep it simple. So this is cool wool hand dye and silk hair hand dye. Both really beautiful yarns. And again, part of the profits from all of this goes to help the community in India. So this is another new yarn from Lana Grossa, and this is a new piece that we have yet to show. It's a yarn called Alesia. It's A-L-E-S-S-I-A, and it is a cotton base, and it has a viscose wrap around it. This is such a beautiful design. It's got a really creative zigzag in it, but the zigzag is created by a yarn over lace pattern. They've done lots of shells, lots of t-shirts. There's a picture of it for you in the handout that is accessible online. It's just an amazing design. And what they've done is they've started to put shaping that helps this fall over the arm and cover up some of the areas that we were talking about earlier. But it's a very squared off body, wonderful upper body shaping to it. And I just want to show you a close-up of the yarn itself. So this is Alesia. And the way it is constructed is that it is a stranded cotton tape. So it's like a little shoelace, and it sits underneath. And in some cases, it's a solid color. And in other cases, the ribbon itself has a very subtle little dye to it, which this one does. So you can see the change of colors, but it's very, very subtle. So the base has the color change, and outside is a viscose, and it's wrapped tightly around it. And in sections, the strands sit close together, and then they separate. So it keeps it super, super soft and very pliable and really easy to knit. In other cases, the base is solid, but the viscose wrap has multicolors. And then for those of you who, like me, you love metallics, they've done the same thing. So it's the same construction, it's exactly the same yarn, but the wrap, instead of being a viscose, this one is a metallic. So this one it's a white base with a copper metallic. So it can be dramatic, or you can be not dramatic. Whatever you choose, we've got something for you. So again, this is the Alessia from Lana Grossa. And we're going to flip to probably the best-selling yarn in a long time. This is a yarn that we fell in love with the minute we saw it. And even naming it was super easy. And so this is Streaker. And I've been asked more than once, so I'll share it with you. If you wear a yarn called Streaker, does it mean you have to streak? Well, I leave that up to you, okay? That is purely your decision. I can tell you it wouldn't happen in this household, but it is up to you. And you're welcome to share pictures if you want. So again, you do what you want to do. But with Streaker, the reason it has that name is it is soy and recycled cotton. So, sorry, it's bamboo and soy. So it's all natural. It's all fibrous product. The two fibers are blended together, and then they're space dyed. And it's a real subtle, slow space dye. But in order to create other activity, they've put little streaks in the base. And you can see just how diverse the colorations are. This is from one ball for the front. And because I didn't want to make it match, here's the back. So you can see from the side how the front and back don't match and don't have to match. In this case, it's reverse stockinette with a yarn over drop stitch. T-shirt style, again, we've added sleeves if this is something that you want a longer sleeve for, but it's just a really easy t-shirt, and it's 3 skeins of yarn. For those of you who like more drama, and you wouldn't be here today if you didn't like more drama, somehow we always have drama, but we get through. So this is the same yarn. And what we've done here is it's done in panels. Now, I started out wanting to do this as a scarf. So I got one piece done and I was bored. I was never going to finish it. And so I turned it over to one of my machine knitters because it's just plain stockinette. And I let her do all the strips, and then we sewed it together. So there's no predetermination on where the colors go, but this is one colorway. In the instructions, when I wrote it, because most people don't like to sew things together, it's all done in one piece. So you have a section of a ball of yarn, or you have one ball attached to each section. And so this is just called the vertical stripe pullover. This is the front. Here's the back. We did it with a square armhole, but again, no attention to detail as far as where colors go. Whatever happened, happened. So down here, nothing matched as we went up. Turquoise hit turquoise, but it doesn't matter. It's just whatever happens, happens. And it's something very difficult for most of us to do, myself included. I am a control freak. If you know me well enough, when you look up control freak in the computer, this is what you see. You see this face right there. So being free to just let this happen was a really nice way to have it work. We've done some other really fun things with it. So I'm just going to switch cameras and let you see what they are. So this is Streaker. This is it as a ball of yarn. It's a really beautiful 100-gram cake style ball, but within every ball, all the colors change. You can see the way it streaks. You can see the color changes. More fun is to be able to see it knit close up. It's what I call a sexy yarn because it feels good in your hands and it feels even more amazing on your body. And so this is a brand new cardigan that we've done. And here you can see all the different shades that are happening right within it. We've used 3 different colorways here, and it's all done in a different stripe count. So you can see that there's shorter stripes, there's longer stripes, shorter, longer. None of them are identical. Now, because I know people see something and they want it to match, I wrote down every single stripe sequence for you. But I've also written in the pattern that if you feel like being a free spirit, go for it. Write down even numbers between 2 and 20. Pick a number, pick a ball, do it. Because when you see this, you saw one front, here's the opposite front, and they don't match. It's a completely different color sequence because the back also creates another set of colors. So between the 2 fronts and the back, you're getting to see every possible colorway within Streaker. And you can see just how beautiful and luminous the yarn is. Now, there's nothing to say that you can't cast on front, back, and front and work this all in one piece so that you don't have a seam. And that will only work up till the armhole, but certainly you can do that. Just keep in mind now that it's going to change the width of the stripes, where the streaks are, and it will create a circular stripe that goes all the way around the body. So we kept it as separate pieces for that reason. And then a brand new piece that we've been lucky enough to get our hands on. One of our fellow stores was just incredible and shared it with us. And this is it. So the base of this is Streaker. And it's done on the diagonal. So you have a decrease on one side, an increase on the other. So the stitch count stays exactly the same, but it forces the striping to go on the diagonal. So sitting underneath is Streaker. And then she uses a yarn called Volante. And with that, you want 3 very diverse colors, and they shouldn't be colors that show up in the multi. So this is a blend of cotton and wool. It's a wool base with a cotton wrap, and it changes. So it's done in a slip stitch pattern. In this case, we used the teal at the bottom. It goes to the plum. It goes to a cream. It goes back to plum, and it comes back to the teal. So I'm gonna flip this one more time.
And Barry, eventually we're going to need to know those dimensions, and you know who for.
All right, so if you have access to the email that went out for this, on there should be the link, and the measurements are on there. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I'm going to tell you, I think it's 10 inches wide by 70 inches long or 80 inches long. It's a really good length, but it's only about 10 inches wide. So if you want it wider, certainly we can do that. It's very easy to do. Okay, we just have to make sure that the stitch count works to the multiple, and I can do that for you, Ivy. That's really easy to do. But I want you to see that's the effect when it's on the body. So it's a beautiful length. You get the diagonal details. You get colors underneath, and they continue to stripe underneath the layering that goes on top, and the layering on top becomes angular. This would also make an amazing jacket. It would be a gorgeous throw. So the underneath part, Streaker, on top, Volante. What we ask you to do is, if you want to be color specific, absolutely feel free to do it. If you trust us, and I hope that you do, just let us know the Streaker color that you want and tell us other colors that you like. And we will put 3 colors that go on top. We can email you a picture of it beforehand and make sure that you approve it. But for the most part, it makes it easy because sometimes colors on the screen don't always match what you see in person. So again, we've been doing that all along. We take pictures and we send it to you. So this is the new slip stitch diagonal scarf. I also wanted to show you so this is that cardigan, not draped very well on a hanger, but that's the effect. So you can see just how glorious all those color changes are. And you've got 3 colors, but they change from sleeve to front. The border is all done in one color. And here's the back. So like the Joseph's coat of many colors, this will go with any bottom that you have. And again, if you're going to take Streaker for its name, then you don't have to worry about a bottom because you won't be wearing one. You'll just have your jacket on. So then it won't matter what it goes with. So anyways, here you go. The Streaker cardigan all together. One other piece that we've done out of Streaker, and this was done by a good friend of ours, and Jan Runkle did this for us. And some of you that have traveled with us or seen us at Stitches have met Jan. She's an incredible knitter and designer. And so this is done with Streaker as well. It's 1 ball each of 3 different colors. We've used Chin Chin as the border. So Chin Chin is a little slubby yarn. It's got little pebble effect to it. And in some cases, we use Streaker all on its own. The whole piece is done in garter stitch. So there's 0 purling in here. And in other cases, we've done stripes of Berlino, so the metallic that was in that other cardigan, and Streaker. The neat part about it is that you start with 1 at the bottom. When you go to do the next one, it's almost like miters. If you follow Jane Slicer Smith, or you've done any of our mitered pieces before, you cast on what doesn't touch, you pick up what does. And then you start the next one and it comes up. And then you go to the other side. So you start by picking up and you cast on. And it continues the entire way. So when it's open, you can see just how many colors and just how many details are in here. Each one of them is framed with Chin Chin. After that, you get to decide what color goes where and how you mix it. There's plenty of yarn. And what we've done, and it's on Fontel's website, is we've created 5 different colorway options for you. So if you don't feel like having to pick your own colors, look at what we've done. You can see all the color changes, but it's a really neat project. If you like knitting with friends, it's a perfect class for that as well. So you can start, you can watch each other pick up, you can help each other pick out what colors go where, or just be a free spirit and let it happen. But it's a gorgeous accessory piece. And then also from Jan is this cardigan. And what's neat about the cardigan is that it has 1 miter in it. And normally when we do things with miters, they tend to be at the bottom. This time, the miter is up at the top. So it almost looks like it's knit from the top down, but it isn't. Your cast on is across the shoulder. So this is your cast on and down the front. It's done in 2 colors of Streaker, 4 rows of each one, and again, in garter stitch. Let the texture become part of the color changes. And there's a place for a miter, so it's a double decrease. You continue until this little section has run out of stitches, and then you bind off. And you do the opposite for the other front. The neat part is the back. So I love every aspect of this cardigan. It can be made different lengths by changing cast on. It could be made different widths. And in fact, Jan's written the pattern for all different sizes. But you can see from one back piece to the other, just how diverse those colorways are. They're really spectacular. But this becomes one piece. So you have your cast on to the center and you pick up and you cast on coming down. You get your miter done, you bind off. To do the opposite side, you pick up, you cast on, and you do the other part with the miter, and then it's all done. So this becomes joined in the knitting process and not in the sewing process. The only seams that you have are on the side and under the sleeve if you choose to do the sleeve at all, or if you don't pick up your stitches and work your sleeve down. It's just a really beautiful jacket. Sits nice on the body, great look, great feel to it. So this is the streaker mitered yoke jacket. And so last season, we did a yarn called Skaha. You may have heard me talking about it before. It is a cuckoo name, but it is called Skaha because it's yarn for a scarf and a hat. So kind of like when two people come together and date and you mix their names. Well, a scarf and a hat are dating and they became Skaha. And this is a ball of Skaha. And I will change the camera again so you can see it better. But what happens is it starts multicolored on the outside. It goes to shading on the inside. And then there's a little part that's undyed. There's a little section right here of white. And when it hits the white, that's your marker that you finished your scarf. And what's left is enough to do a hat. But people have been asking, okay, I don't want another hat and scarf. What can I do wearable besides an accessory? And so I love knitting things on the diagonal. This takes 3 skeins of yarn. You start in the corner and you're increasing each end. And you just follow the ball of yarn exactly as it comes off. When it gets to the halfway point, so you're gonna have stitches like that on a holder, you stop. You take another ball and you do the same thing on the other side. Once they're exactly the same, you merge them. So you're gonna work across one, join it in the middle, work across the other. And because it's all on a diagonal and you wanna keep the diagonal, you have an increase, a double decrease, and an increase. So your stitch count again stays exactly the same number of stitches, just continue up the body. And as the colors come off the ball, that's what happens. When it came to the fronts, we decided just to let it be. So we had extra yarn left over. We just started wherever we were on the ball of yarn, which was right in the center. And we continued, and then it went to the part for the hat. And then we needed more yarn, so we started the next ball, and it starts with multi, and it goes to the color shading. And so the 2 fronts each started in a different point in the ball of yarn so that the fronts don't match. You just get a really beautiful graphic diagonal detail with the color changes. Now, the one thing I want to make sure that you know about this is that this is a yarn that was produced once. So it is limited edition. The factory that did this produced it. They're now on to something else, and they told us that they won't go back and produce it again. So the inventory we have is the inventory we have. And this color in particular, we're down to the last 5 or 6 skeins. So I'm not somebody who usually just says jump on it, but if this is a yarn that you like, whether you knit this jacket or you do something else, this would be the time to do it because Fontal has the very last 6 balls. Not available anyplace else unless they bought it before and they still have it in stock, but so far I don't think anybody has it. And I'm just going to switch cameras so you can see the detail of the yarn. I knew it would eventually get there. So it starts out multicolored on the outside. It goes to all of the shading. Here's that little touch of white to tell you that you're done with your scarf. And you head right into the hat part. If you're doing this jacket, you just knit it and you don't care that there's that little touch of white. But if you choose to do a hat and scarf, I just finished doing this piece. So it's one ball. It starts out multicolored. It's done on the diagonal, keeping that diagonal theme going. Carrie will laugh every time I say diagonal because when she asks me, what are you going to do next? I say, I'm going to do something diagonal. I love the detail. I like how the color striping comes up and it's just easy for me to do and not have to think. And sometimes we need our brains to shut down. So it's sections of garter stitch and then a slip stitch sitting on top of garter. And so it goes from all the multis into all of the shading. And then it changes, the shading continues, and it ends up coming back right at the very end. And right here is where the white kicked in. So it told us to stop and to keep the theme going. Here's our hat. So shorter sections of garter stitch and the slip stitch, all done on the diagonal. It's done almost like a cowl, and it could be a cowl, but because I wanted the hat, I took my bind off thread, joined it with 3 needle, and then gathered it in order to close up the hat. So one ball of Skaha did this hat and the scarf. And there's lots and lots of really great patterns online that Fontel has access to. So we're more than happy to share them with you. And I've got one more quick thing to show you. Thank you all for your patience with what's kind of gone on today. But most of you know that I can be a baby, okay? Coming up on 59 years this year. And most shocking to me, I got to see my nephews last night for the first time in 16 months. And one of them said to me, "You're going to be 60 this year, aren't you?" Well, he almost lost his life. But no, I'm at 59, but no matter how old I get, the one thing that will always be in my life is that I love teddy bears. I've been a fan of them throughout this house. There's teddy bears everywhere. And so I decided to bring back my teddy bear pattern. And so this is called Barry is Very Happy. And this one is done in tiger. And so it is brushed alpaca and wool as the base. It's got some cotton in it as well. And it changes with tiger stripes. So this is a pink base with a black stripe. All the colors have a black stripe, but it comes in green and copper and every color you can imagine. And then all the edges are done in black merino, including the muzzle. You just do a little bit of embroidery, but you have a great teddy bear. He's just all a bunch of little pieces, get sewn together, and it's the perfect gift. And at a time that a lot of us have been alone, he's now become my best friend. And because I need more than one best friend, I knit him again. And this time I knit him in a yarn called Icon. An Icon is a cotton base, a brushed alpaca, and it has a little baby sequin inside of it so that he's magical. So you can rub him and you can make your wish. And like a genie in a bottle, it all comes through. But this is called Icon, and he's also mixed with merino. And so he's part of my Barry's Very Happy. And again, I am very happy to be with you today. So on a personal note, I'm going to say thank you for being with us. I appreciate your time and your patience. If there's something that we missed, let us know. If you have conversation, you can unmute yourself, ask any questions, and that's it. Carrie, were there any questions? Anything we need to?
Yes, we can't find the dimensions to that scarf anywhere. So eventually we need those dimensions.
Okay. Well, here.
So while Barry's
Maybe I can
for
do
that, those of you, you can go ahead and unmute yourselves. We encourage you to ask questions of Barry. I know you've been active on the chat and so forth, but by all means, ask questions. Are you measuring Barry?
No, hold on.
He's going for a tape measure.
Yeah, and I can't find it.
I'm sorry.
We'll get to the bottom of it. So,
All right.
yeah, here he comes.
Sorry, you didn't need to hear me groan. Okay. It is 10 inches wide and 70 inches long.
Bingo.
You were right there.
All righty.
It happens every now and then.
Yeah,
We're going to say thank you to you, Barry. Thanks so much.
absolutely.
My pleasure.
If there are no other questions and whatnot, I'm going to say on behalf of Great Yarns, thank you very much for joining us today. Of course, our thanks go to Barry. He always does a wonderful job. He brings us new inspiration and so forth. Thank you for bearing with us during the little technical difficulties. We apologize for that. But I hope you enjoyed it. We enjoyed having you. So thank you for being a part of our presentation. Thank you for being a part of Stitches at Home. Bye now.
We'll see you all soon. Stay safe.
Yes, and if you have any questions at all or need any help, don't hesitate to call or email. Thank you again.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.